ladies' night. Basically, for me, it's the first episode where I've had a woman on, so got to be on best behaviour. At least that's what my missus says anyway. So
don't worry, I'm not easily offended.
Perfect. Question number 1. What is the single best ride that you've ever done anywhere in the world? Not the biggest or the newest, but it's just one that has delivered the most complete experience.
This is really tough because my top 2 are currently battling it out with each other, and it changes daily which one is on top the more I think about it or not. But I think I'm going to say Stardust Racers, because for the first time, so the number 2 is Falcon's Flight, which everyone obviously who's ridden it recently, it's like shooting right up their top 10s. When I came off Stardust Racers, I was just so happy, and like it was just the most joyful experience to have done, and I wasn't expecting it because I'd seen people who'd gone to the Epic previews and they talked about Stardust and they said it was great, but everyone's like, it's still not as good as Velocicoaster, and I'd done Velocicoaster and really enjoyed it, and I was expecting Stardust to be below it. And when I came off it, I was just like, that's just absolutely blown me away. I've had so much fun on that ride that I need to go and do it again. As I got off Falcons, and there is a video on TikTok of my immediate reaction to getting off Falcons, it was very much the same, and I was desperate to get back on it. That's just like a juggernaut, whereas Stardust is just, like I said, it's a joyful experience. So I would probably say Stardust. It is very close.
Very interesting choices, but the theming is something slightly left to be desired as part of like Celestial Park. I kind of in two minds about it. I'm interested in the original IP.
I don't get that feeling from it, to be honest. I think it fits beautifully into Celestial Park, and especially at night where the trains, the coaster isn't lit at all. The coaster's completely in the dark, but the trains are lit, and they are like comets flying through the sky, which is exactly what it's supposed to be. And with the onboard audio, I don't think you need anything else. I think if you had any big theming pieces around that, it would absolutely detract from it. I think that the beauty of it is you are on a very, in some ways, simple roller coaster, and you are flying through the sky, and that's kind of the baseline of what a good roller coaster should be.
Have you got a few words for the people that say Falcon's Flight is forceless?
I've literally just uploaded a video about it. Go and watch my video with my husband. So my husband's a fighter pilot. He knows G-forces inside out. He came off, he rode it before I did, because he rode it sort of the day after opening, and he was like, that thing is crazy. And he would not, so he's not an enthusiast. He's not a theme park fan. He just gets dragged to them with me. And he couldn't believe what he'd ridden. So the next time when we went back together, I was like, right, we are going to actually record the G-forces on this. So yeah, there is a video which shows it is absolutely not Falcon's forceless. I know you can't, you watch a POV and you can't tell. Like, you just can't, but it's not.
Myth busted.
It's facts. Hashtag science.
100%. Question number 2. What is the most intense or physically demanding ride that you've ever been on? The ride that genuinely tested you?
That would probably be Falcons in terms of intensity, because there is nothing like going up that camelback after that third launch. I got windburn on my lips. That's how fast it was going. And genuinely for a week, my lips were just like, I looked like Groot or something. But actually at the park, the ride that tested me the most was Iron Rattler, because that tilt is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I've never experienced anything like that. It is Oblivion on steroids in every way, and I'm not sure I'll ever do it again. But the rest of after the tilt, the coaster is very enjoyable and not intense, very smooth, like great. The elements go into each other so beautifully, but the tilt itself is just not for me.
So interesting you mentioned about, the kind of tilts, and obviously you mentioned Oblivion as well, so, drop coasters. Do you think that perhaps as technology advances, we're going to start to see more tilts over drops and it will start to kind of phase them out? Or do you think that perhaps maintenance, because like what we've seen with hydraulic launches when they first came about, and then, like life cycles, where do you kind of foresee the tilt versus drop?
It's weird because I honestly thought that the drop coasters were done. And then obviously Six Flags over in Texas announced their beast that they're opening in 2026. Just a crazy height drop tower. And it looks fantastic. I think there's a place for both. I think it's too early to know how the tilt technology is going to age. Obviously, we've only got a very small handful of tilt coasters at the moment. When I was at Qiddiya, Iron Rattler didn't miss a beat. It was going all night, all day, all night, absolutely perfectly. So I think Vekoma have done a great job with it. I think there's a place for both. They're actually very different ride experiences. On the tilt coaster, you really hang in the restraint and you are fully vertical and all your weight is slid into that front restraint. Whereas obviously on Oblivion, the point of at where you hang, you are not vertical. So you don't have that body weight pushing down on the restraints in the same way. So it's a very different sensation. So yeah, there you go. That's a politician's answer.
It's almost like being on Slammer for like 3 or 4 seconds, isn't it? At that point where you kind of go.
Yeah. It's very, you know that you can't, but there is something in your head that goes, I could like literally go head over heels here. The weight bearing down is a very strange sensation, and you're held in that position for quite a long time. Well, it feels like a long time anyway. It's probably not. It's really like 20 seconds, but it feels like it's forever. So yeah, it's definitely an experience.
Amazing, fantastic answer. Next question: what's one thing that hosting Parkcast has unlocked for you and how you experience theme parks or form opinions?
So Parkcast has unlocked loads for me. I've met some great people, enthusiasts. I've met some amazing people who work in the industry, some of whom I now class as friends, like one of whom is my absolute best friend. And it's also, if I didn't do Parkcast, I wouldn't have put so much effort, I don't think, into going into so many theme parks last year. It really reignited my passion for theme parks. I've been a theme park fan since I was about 14. And much like a roller coaster, that's gone in peaks and troughs of where my level of interest is. But it's now very much in a peak. The best thing that it unlocked, like undoubtedly, was when I got an email from Europa Park who said, do you want to come and do a podcast in our studio? And that genuinely came from them. I did not approach them and ask them. It landed in my inbox. And I was like, what, actual Europa Park want me to go into their studio and talk some nonsense? Like that was just unbelievable. And that, you know, doing a theme park podcast is very, very niche. And I am very much small fry in the world of theme park creators. But I know my lane and I stick in my lane and I do what I do. And so getting that email was, an absolute highlight. And then obviously doing the podcast there as well was just like amazing, dream come true. It
looked amazing. It looked fantastic. You know, Europa, if you're listening, I don't have a dedicated inbox, but you can message me.
Oh, you need one.
And I might respond.
It's so cool. And the fact that that park has its own studio to do podcasts, and I spoke to the guys who run it. I was like, why do you have this? Why do you do this? And they said, because we want to connect with our fans. We want to connect with our enthusiasts. We know there's interest in what's going on, so this is how we do it. And it's not just for the general public. They specifically mentioned enthusiasts, and they said we know how much enthusiasts can help what we do, and spread the word about what we do. So this is our give back to them, is that we share news through doing a podcast. And I just thought that was such a refreshing mindset for a theme park, because also all too often, especially in the UK, you get doors slammed in your face, you get enthusiasts are trouble, enthusiasts are a pain, and some of them are absolutely, people take it too far, but a lot of us are just genuinely wanting to share what's going on and spread the word about theme parks. And I think if you can work with a park to further their goals, then that's win-win for everyone.
Do you think that the kind of future in terms of the security and safety of the parks is going to be working and collaborating with the creators as like a whole, rather than kind of saying, well, we're going to work with the specific ones?
Such a discrepancy between parks and POVs. So Europa Park is as long as you've got it securely fastened on a chest mount, you're absolutely fine. You don't need to come and see us. We don't need to come and sign it off for you. You know, there is a very trusting relationship between the person with the camera and the park, and it's looked after because we respect that they are allowing us to do it, and they respect that we will probably post that content somewhere, and it's fair, and everyone can do it. And it's not just, oh, you've got to have a channel, you've got to do that. Anyone can turn up to the park with a properly secured action camera and they can get a POV. I don't know why there is such a kerfuffle about doing that at other parks. If it's safe on Mac coasters at Europa Park, if it's safe on the B&M coaster at Europa Park, why is it not safe at the other parks? I genuinely don't know. Meta glasses are very interesting. Obviously, Six Flags in the US have just announced that they are allowing secured meta glasses. They're not allowing chest-mounted action cameras, but they are allowing meta glasses. And actually, from a realistic point of view, what is the difference in wearing a pair of meta glasses to a pair of glasses? There's no difference. They're exactly the same. So the only thing you're concerned about is what is being captured on that camera. And I don't know why there is reluctance to embrace that a little bit more. I would like to see parks work more collaboratively with creators. I think the creator program was badly thought out. I didn't disagree with it. I can see what they were trying to do, but it was just never going to work in the way they wanted it to. But I don't think it's the case that just because you say you have a theme park channel that the park should make special allowances for you. I do think you need to prove your worth on that, and I think the creators who have proved their worth, and I'm talking the ones with sort of 100k plus followers, should absolutely be working with the parks, but that should be a two-way street, and the park should be paying them for that, for working with them. They are doing advertising for them, which would cost the park thousands of pounds if they went to any advertising agency. So it shouldn't just be okay, yeah, we'll slip you some free tickets. I think there needs to be a bit more respect on both sides about what everyone's trying to achieve.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point.
As soon as there's a relationship, and I've spoken about this at length, you have to declare the relationship on all your posts. And that can affect your monetization if your content gets monetized, and it can affect how people view your content. I think if you go to a park and you have a great time, tell everyone about it. If you go to a park and you have a terrible time, tell people why you had a terrible time. Like, talk about what should have happened and what didn't happen. Share both versions of it. I don't think you need to have a working relationship. I think the people who should have the working relationship should be paid for the working relationship, and then that should be declared in the usual way that any advert gets declared, but those people will be getting paid to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really valid answer. What's the most controversial theme park moment that you've been involved in or commented on, and why it sparked debate? And it could even be the rap controversy that's just gone on there.
I mean, the rap thing's interesting. Obviously, that's very topical at the moment, and I'm not a rap user. I've never used a rap pass. Rap pass? That's a ride access pass, isn't it? I've never used rap. I saw that it was happening, and I like to share interesting stuff that happens in theme parks. So I just did a video about rap ages ago, actually. It was about them changing how they were going to release the tickets this year. And then I think because I'd done that video, when these changes came out, I suddenly had an inbox full of people saying, have you seen what they've done? Have you seen what they've done? And I don't generally like to talk about something until I have a fact, rather than hearsay. And this was really unclear. So I was trying to contact someone to say, is this actually right? Are you actually saying that people are not going to get a wrap, or have you just literally left it off your little bullet points? Because I genuinely didn't know at the time. So I just posted this video saying, look, this seems to be happening, but I don't actually know. I'm trying to find out. And it just went absolutely crazy. And now obviously everyone's talking about it, as they should be, and I don't know what is going to happen with it. I don't think I don't feel like I'm particularly involved in that, because it's not my fight. I did post a video a couple of days later saying I think Merlin passes are too cheap, and that's pretty controversial. I've had a lot of people saying, why are you trying to get Merlin to up their prices? And I'm not trying to get Merlin to up their general prices, although I do think they need to go up a little bit once the investment is there. I would like them to get rid of cheap annual passes, and that's the difference. And the Platinum Pass price, I think, is fair. But I think when you can get entry to 4 UK theme parks year round, plus Madame Tussauds, London Eye, whatever it is, you can still go on with a Merlin pass for like 75 quid. I think it's 75, 85. It was in the Black Friday sale. I just think that's too cheap. And we complain about the queues at Merlin Parks. It's like, well, what's the common denominator? They've given out very, very cheap annual passes. You're going to have a lot of people in your parks with those passes. And yeah, the queues are going to be big. So that's the trade-off.
Almost like an oversubscribed gym. You turn up in the morning,
exactly that.
Nothing's free.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's exactly how I see it. Yeah, I don't see, even if they had the very cheap option, but it was capped, then I could kind of understand that. And maybe they do have a cap, but it's clearly a cap that's never reached, because when have they ever been sold out? Absolutely never. And now they're giving them out with hotel stays, and it's great if you want a cheap annual pass. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, you cannot deny the value, but accept that you are going to be waiting in long queues because everyone else has got a cheap annual pass too, and everyone's going to want to use them. So you can't have it all. We can't have quality experiences, no queues, investment, amazing themed world-class attractions, and cheap entry. Like that is the dream world that unfortunately cannot and will not ever exist. So something has to give.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. What is a park that does one thing better than anyone else in terms of thrills, atmosphere, operations, theming, or even perhaps value?
Actually, Europa Park. On all of the above. Honestly, I know I sound like a stuck record, and trust me, I am not endorsed or paid by Europa Park. I've never had a free ticket from Europa Park. I've paid every single time I've gone there. But it just is. I spent more time in Europa Park last year than I did at Alton Towers, and I didn't have one bad day. I had, I think, 3 bad days. Did I go 3 or 4 times? I think I went 5 times to Alton Towers. I had one good day, which was the blue light day, buyout day on the Friday, where it was dead, and the rest of the days were just write-offs. I went to Europa Park I had 6 days in Europa Park last year, not one bad day. So, okay, the stats are still in their infancy, but it's looking good that the proportion of good days versus days spent in park is high. I don't know how they do their operations the way they do. I think they just pour money into maintenance, they pour money into staff training, they run the rides at capacity. Even when there are low queues, you will never see one train operations. They will just keep firing the empty trains around. I was literally sat on Woden and there was no one in the air gates with me, but there was still trains coming in. And Bluefire the same. Like, there was a point where there was literally me and 2 other people on the train for Bluefire, but there was still another one stacking behind us. The atmosphere there is amazing, especially at Christmas. Just the most beautiful, magical place. You just can't believe the effort that they put into a temporary event. Some of their lakes they board over and they build an ice rink on them. They have bars. There's glühwein everywhere. There's Christmas trees, Christmas lights absolutely everywhere. It's just a wonderful place to be, and I will keep saying it until everyone who's listened goes and tries it and then comes back. That's the trouble. You come back and you go, why can't we have this here? Why does it have to be 6 hours from Calais in the heart of Germany? It's so frustrating to me, because Alton Towers absolutely has the bones to be a park like that, and it's just not, and I don't know if it ever will be again, but that's the reason I became a Europa Park season pass holder this year and not a Merlin pass holder, I guess. Why do it to yourself? Theme park should be a place that you go and you go, that was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to go back there again. We're just, we just keep missing the boat in the UK. Apart from Paultons, I will single out Paultons as somewhere on a par with the European parks.
Definitely. Right, final question. Tell me one ride that you'd instantly convert a casual visitor into a full-blown theme park enthusiast.
I don't know if it would be a roller coaster, because if you don't like roller coasters, I don't think it's going to convert you. And the ones that I think are great are quite intense roller coasters. So something like Stardust, something like Voltron. Like Voltron will scare people off, I think, definitely. I think it would have to be something like Symbolica at Efteling, which is just a really magical dark ride. Or if it was a roller coaster, potentially Arthur at Europa Park. because it's not very intense. It's very themed. My 4-year-old daughter's been on it, and she is not like super brave. She'll go on some things and not other things, and she really loved it. And it's kind of a hybrid between a dart ride and a coaster, so it's not scary. So maybe that one, and I think that kind of shows everything that theme parks can do. They can give you a little thrill, that you can come off with a smile on your face. You can go through a very themed, immersive experience. And the loading on it is very speedy. It's one of those continuous loaders like Voltron. So you get on it quickly. So it doesn't tend to have a very big queue at all. So yeah, maybe Arthur or Symbolica, I'd say.
Excellent. Let's move on to the future. Obviously, 2026 is a big year. We've got Evictus. We had the news with GB Universal or Universal GB, whichever way around. I want to know, what are your plans for this year? Are you going to the Evictus event? How many times are you going to go to Europa Park? How many times are you going to Towers? Tell all.
Well, as I've spoken about online, I currently live in Saudi. So I have just become a Six Flags Qiddiya annual pass holder. So I'll definitely be going back there. But I also leave Saudi about every 6 weeks. So whether that's to go to the UK or to go to Europe, it's about every 6 weeks or so that I try and get away. So yes, I have a Europa Park season pass. My first trip over there will be in May. That will be for about a week, and then we're definitely going back in December as well. Whether there's another visit in between, has yet to be decided. I would love to go to the Evictus launch, and if I was in the UK permanently, I would have absolutely spent that 50 quid on the Evictus launch. I did the Icon one, and I know people are like, it's a waste of money, and it probably is, but I'm a roller coaster nerd, a theme park nerd. Like that's the kind of thing I want to spend money on, is exclusive experiences like that. And I love a gyro swing. They are my favourite type of flat ride. Having ridden gyro spin at Qiddiya, which is the world's tallest, but it's not an Intamin one, so it's got the over-the-shoulder restraints. I can't imagine how Evictus is going to feel, because I haven't done Loki, so I don't. With just having a lap bar, that is going to be an absolutely insane experience. It is going to be a hugely thrilling experience, and I think it will look it from the ground once it's actually up and running. I think it's very hard to get the scale of it at the moment, but I think once it's there, it will look great. So I don't know if I'll be there for the launch. It just depends on if I can get out or not, how it works with timings. But I would love to be, and I definitely will ride it this year. Alton Towers. So I have a 4-year-old daughter who loves Bluey and is desperate to go on the Bluey coaster. So at some point, I will go to Alton Towers this year. And actually, but the last couple of times I've stayed in the hotel, I've had a decent experience staying in the hotel for the price that I paid. I've never paid like the £400-500 a night. That's just crazy. So I would probably do that. I will not go to Thorpe Park this year. I will not go to Chessington this year. I will not go to Legoland this year. Where else am I going? I'm going to Efteling in March again. And then that's probably it for the year. It's very difficult when you're in Saudi because everywhere's... I do want to go over to Abu Dhabi. I haven't done that. So that's quite a short flight for us from here. So I'd like to do that. But that's probably it for this year, which is quite a lot when everything's like 6 hours flight away.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, show and tell. Have you got time for show and tell?
I've got time for it. My problem is I'm in Saudi and I haven't brought any of my theme park nerdy stuff with me. But let me tell you what I would show you if AI was at home and B, it hadn't been destroyed. Because it has been destroyed and I'm still bitter about it. So very quickly, when I was 18, I worked in an Italian restaurant in Cardiff and it was called Mama Amalfi, and I worked there for about 3 years. And one night, on a Saturday night, I was behind the bar getting some glasses sorted, looked up, saw someone standing there asking if they could book a table for a little bit later on, and it was John Wardley. And I was obviously a fairly young roller coaster enthusiast at the time, but I very much knew who John Wardley was. John Wardley was not used to being recognised. So when I said to him, "Are you John Wardley?" That was like my opening line. The shock on his face that he'd been recognised will stay imprinted in my brain forever. Anyway, of course I got him a table, and he had all his family with him. There was about 8 of them, I think, who all could not believe that he had been recognised by me. They just thought it was the funniest thing in the world that someone knew who he was. And I looked after them that evening. And at the end of the night, I said, will you just like sign me a little thing? Which he did. It was like a little card that I'd been taking their orders down on. And then I kept that for, it's got to be 20 years I had that little bit of card for. And then I got a dog. And when my dog was a puppy, she destroyed it. And I'm still very, very angry about it. I have been lucky enough to speak to John twice on Parkcast since. And I did ask him if he remembered the crazy girl in the Italian restaurant, recognising him. And he said it's never happened to him since. So he did remember it, which was quite nice. But that's what I would show you if I had it. But sadly, I don't.
If nothing else, we just got the best story from John Wardley's #1 fangirl.
I think that's what his family thought. They were like, I can't believe you know who he is. I'm like, of course I know who he is. This was a long time ago. This was like, I don't know, early 2000s. So it was, John Wardley wasn't as well known as he is now. Like, I can't believe how many theme park enthusiasts there are now. Like back then, we were all like squirreled away on internet forums, and we didn't even know what each other looked like, let alone anyone else. There was no videos. It was all like photos, which we had to go and get printed and then scan in and upload. So it was a very different time. And I imagine he gets recognised a lot more now.
Yeah, the internet's made him a celebrity, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
Definitely. Well, Bex, thank you so much for coming on. You've given some great answers, and it's really great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.